Hello and welcome. In this week I've uploaded a video from an interview I did the other day with Suzy Miller from Divorce TV, talking about divorcing from the emotional abuser and divorcing emotionally. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're returning, thank you so much and welcome back.
Hello, Elizabeth, or Liz, which do you prefer?
Either. I'm fine.
Either. Good. As long as it's one or the other. Thank you for joining us, and I'm very grateful you're going to give us a little bit of your time, and you're going to share your own experience and what you learnt from it, and you've taken that experience and you're currently writing a book, I believe.
Yeah, so I've already got two, Finding Lily and the A to Z of Emotional Abuse, and this was actually supposed to be an ebook that was like a giveaway, but it's actually turned into something a little bit bigger than that. So it's 3 things you should never do, divorcing a narcissist is the title. My biggest takeaway was that going into the divorce process, you actually need to be divorced emotionally. That was something that I realized further into the process that was happening as the process was going along. I wasn't as emotionally divorced as I thought I was, so I was easy to trigger. It was easy for me to react rather than respond, and of course, if you're divorcing somebody who's emotionally abusive or higher up the narcissistic spectrum, that is what they want. They're looking for those reactions. They're looking for that proof. But also what they've done is they've already negotiated before you've even come into the arena. They've decided what you're worth to them. They've decided what they're going to pay out if it's that way round. There's a split of assets, or they know to what limit they're going to go to, and that includes hiding assets and etc. So, and this is something that I experienced, and it was something that I totally regretted, and I agreed to the 5 unreasonable behavior just to get it through, and they said, I'll pay for it if you agree to my terms. So I was like, well, what are the terms? I need to think about this. And it was like, no, you have to make that decision. And I sort of ended up being thrust down a route that I really, really regretted later. And everyone's all for saving money, but I would actually say, I wish I'd spent a little bit more in getting more support for myself.
Yeah. Because you're being bullied, and obviously I see this a lot. You're bullied and try. You just want it all to be over, don't you? So you don't want to pick a fight, because from a bitter experience that also doesn't work. So how do you where is that? It's not even middle ground. That alternative way of doing things, because you've got you don't lay down and die because they're just going to have a lovely time and completely take you for a ride. If you go into full-on battle, they're going to love that as well. So how do you manage to do something? Do you have to just be smarter? How you divorce?
Emotionally divorce. It is emotionally divorce, or as much as you can emotionally divorce from them is the way to be, because they will be looking to send those triggering emails or letters, and they will be looking to poke as much as they can to get a reaction, because this is their stage, this is their arena, this is where they're getting with the narcissist or the emotional abuser. It's about supply. Everything's about supply and the quality of supply. So the attention that they need and they feed on, this is where they're gaining it from. So there would be things like, divorcing emotionally, so that if they say anything, or you receive a letter from them, you're not reacting, you're responding calmly, because they want that reaction. What I found was, initially we started on the process, and I was being pushed, we need this information, we need that information. I supplied, and I was given a certain amount of time to sort out a solicitor, and then I was given a date I needed to sort this out by. And so in the end, I didn't know what to do, rabbit in headlights. And I just said, no, don't worry. I'm not going to get a solicitor. I'll do it all myself.
Blimey.
And then there was tumbleweed, nothing.
Yeah.
And then I chased it in February. So this is my date was the 5th of January. I was given I had to respond by. In February, it was over mid-February. I was like, can somebody tell me what's going on? And it's like, oh yeah, we haven't done anything yet. So it's getting you into those positions where you have to make a decision and you're not given that time, and then they hold back. And the next one was I needed to get all this information in and the process, and then again tumbleweed. And this was about 2.5 months later. I was like, can somebody tell me what's going on? Oh yeah, we haven't got the money yet to pay the court. So
basically, you were doing everything you should, but there's a game being played,
yes,
and that which is delay. Yeah.
Yes. So I was in a position. I wasn't emotionally. I wasn't in the position that I wanted to go down. I wasn't ready for that route. So I felt like I was ushered down that route, and then once I got in there, I couldn't get out. So I did attempt it at one point, and I said, look, if this isn't going to happen, I'm giving you to the end of June. You've got to the 30th of June and nothing has happened by then. I will submit my own petition, and I will take, and of course the emotionally abusive or people are higher up on that spectrum don't want anyone else to take control. So the money was found very quickly.
Would you say yeah? So because you start to put some boundaries down,
yes,
and
yes.
And would you say that, so if there's a divorce situation in an ideal world, I always recommend that people they petition, because it's in many ways it does give you a bit more leverage when the other person is, to be blunt, dicking about, and it's very difficult if they petition and then they start stalling. It actually makes things much harder to keep things moving along.
Yeah. There were a few times that happened, and in fact, I must be, the court process. I know it's centralised, but there was one judge, but it falls down in certain areas. There was one judge that turned around and said, actually, I don't like this. I don't like the consent, the order. Can you both write in and tell me the reasoning behind the order and the reasoning why there's no pension share? And there was an and in the middle, and it was a long sentence. So of course this didn't go down too well.
That's excellent. That's excellent, because I mean that's one of the one of the many good things, not many, one of the good things about the current system, for all its issues, is the judge is a bit like a backstop, aren't they? And the good ones will spot when it's just clearly not fair and not right, and something's been missed out. So I bet you're glad that that they spotted that one.
It didn't actually. This is where it falls down, because it's centralised. It then goes back into somebody else's desk, and then they highlight something else, and it goes back and it lands on somebody else's desk. So actually, we were forced to go into court by the system, by the by the divorce process. They wanted it to be seen in court, and the barrister representing my ex was very good. She was absolutely amazing, and she said, "Look, if this had landed, she just wiped the floor with the whole process." And I wasn't represented. I had somebody with me, like a Mackenzie friend, who didn't have the benefit of somebody to counteract that and think quickly and understand the process. Because I did sit there thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about. She's talking to the judge knows what she's talking about, and she knows what the judge is talking about, and I'm just sat here. And the judge, I saw two judges. The first one, I can't remember what she specialised in, but it wasn't divorce. And the second one was he specialised in I think it was injuries or something like that. So nobody.
You made such a good point there, because again, like I was saying earlier, with the interview,
Yeah, saw that. I listened to that interview and I thought I completely relate to that, because they have no idea. Yeah.
Because with the at least with arbitrate, and if you go for an arbitrate, if you can persuade the other person, if they really feel that they're right, they may, if you're lucky, assume that the arbitrators will obviously see how it should be. At least you can get someone who's highly competent in that area, which does help. But you just don't know what you're going to get in the family court. That must have been very stressful, having to go through all that. How, when you talk about just before we finish, and thank you so much for sharing this, I love hearing. Even I know it's been horrific for you, but it's just important for people to know that they're not the only ones who go through all of this. When you talk about the emotional disconnection, the ability to divorce emotionally, can you just explain just to round off a little bit what that actually means in practice?
Okay. So it's so I work. This is my area, because it was horrific, and it was something I heard this term, and I thought, oh, that's just an amazing summary. Divorcing emotionally means that if somebody says something to you, you get no reaction whatsoever. If they do something to you, they get gives you no reaction. There's no trigger. So the trigger is that emotional reaction or a feeling within your body. So to divorce emotionally is to have all of those wounds. Coming out of an emotionally abusive relationship, the biggest thing that you've got is trauma bonds. The trauma bond that keeps you trapped, that kept you trapped, that hid the abuse, that you didn't see. Everyone else could see it's going on. You can't see it. Everyone's trying to tell you, you can't see it. And they keep you trapped in that drama until there's nothing left, and they can walk away and they leave you. And that is the trauma bond held in place. So by divorcing emotionally, and I'm not talking about a bit of paper, divorcing emotionally is for anyone, married or not. It's not having a trigger. You can hear their name and it doesn't make you cringe or squeeze up inside.
And what processes did you use to do that? Because that's a massive change to go through.
It is, and it isn't something that happens overnight. I work with, it's the wounding that I work with, the wounds. So you've got various different things going on. You've got a chemical reaction, which is mainly oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone, but you've got dopamine going on as well, which was the reward center. So they told you something, you were looking for your reward all the time from them, but it was the oxytocin that bonded you into that relationship. And it's about, so I help people work through releasing the needs, that craving for that drug. So your drug of choice actually is the emotional abuser, and you're looking for that hit all the time. So it's helping people deal with that, helping people come out of their head and into their body so that they can actually feel where the trauma is. So when you're reacting rather than responding, you're reacting from your monkey brain, from your the part of you that is still in it's the stress hormones, the stressors are still there triggering you. So it's helping people calm the body down. And then once you've calmed it down, you can then start looking for the wounds and the emotional wounds that were held within the body. So, but
brilliant.
Yeah,
so deep, that's quite deep healing. So that's really become your life now. You've moved into that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's like, my friend of mine phoned me the other day about something. And I'd sent her a link to a body language expert, and it was like, and she was like, wanted to talk about it. I was like, oh, this is my favourite subject. It isn't my favourite subject because I know it's so painful and I know how hard it is to come out of it. But it is, I'm so passionate about it. I'm now working with a sanctuary for abused women, and this is the area that I am, I'm doing this. I want to go down the support route, but I really want to go down the court route. So supporting people going to court, and I'm trying to change it from women, because I know the sanctuary that I will be working with is women, but this year I've been shocked at the amount of men that have reached out to me.
I've met many men who it goes across all sexes, definitely. Well, I love someone who's, when they're on a good mission, and it's a very powerful one. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And make sure you put links to information. I'll send you links to where this goes out, and if you could add it to the comments, that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
Speak to you again
so
soon.
Much. Thank
Bye,
you.
bye, Liz. So, tough stuff. Both men and women go through this all the time, but it's great I just love it when people take their trauma and heal themselves and then look to heal others as well.
If you'd like to find out more about working with me on a one-to-one basis, I'll leave the links below in the description box. I'll also put the links to both my books, Finding Lily and The A to Z of Emotional Abuse. And as I said at the beginning of the interview, I am in the process of writing the 3 things you should never do when divorcing a narcissist. That will be out shortly. Please don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel if you can. Sending you loads and loads and loads of love.